about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Spending time all alone, sending my songs to the phone, dreaming of a better home. We want focused on trying to hone this craft, witchcraft. I hope the Bluez let this last.
I don't know if the earth is painted blue.
That was great sounds of Watson with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, EZ Bluez is in the building. EZ Bluez, you're better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us today on Behind the Brand?
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to jump in the time machine. I want to go back about 2-3 years. About actually maybe like 2 years this October-ish kind of thing. I'm laid up with a back injury, hurting super bad. We get thrown on this amazing tour working with Full Blast Booking. Just play a show at the Cellar in Treadwell. The next day, we got to go to Massachusetts. And of course, the venue is 3 flights up. I'm hobbling, I'm hurting, I'm sore. I go and I hide in a back room. Every once in a while, there's this calming soul that walks through in a Jeff Hardy shirt. I'm like, brother. And there he is, and he's engaging, and he's a great soul and a human being. And I didn't even know he was an artist. I thought he was just someone that was there. After, on top of all of that, someone who is filming a performance, staying engaged as someone, an audience member. Then he flips that same energy as an audience member and actually delivers it as a performer. That is the level of human being that we have today. A person that in those 2 years, I actually watched him do a full brand switch and reconstruct himself under the amazing moniker of Spacey Jones. A man who, during one of the biggest touring aspects to help mental health, the Tour for Life, took time out of his own performance and marketing schedule to film and document the whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to put your hands together, not if you're driving. If you're driving, you keep your hands at 10 and 2. No accidents are necessary. But this man is, like all of our other guests, accident worthy. Let's put our hands together for Spacey Jones. My brother, how are you?
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
Appreciate having you, brother. I appreciate having you. It is, your energy is absolutely incredible. And I have sat back and for the past 2 years watched you kind of grow and evolve, go from kind of like a smaller niche type of hip hop into a broader, still underground and still very much true to your own self, but a real different perspective and a real different energy that you bring. Yep. You know, you had a little bit of darkness to you 2 years ago. I'm not even going to pretend. And now I don't see any of that darkness. I don't see any of that darkness when having a conversation with you. I don't see any of that darkness online in your social media presence. And I don't see any of that darkness in your performances, even when you're talking about tough subjects. What was the switch? And especially coming from 2020, where mental health is a huge thing because a lot of people are sitting in isolation, solitude. So darkness comes knocking and sitting at the door. Right. What is different about Spacey Jones?
I think it's just me growing as a person. Especially in 2020, it was just a lot of self-reflection. I think a lot of people had that time to themselves to do self-reflection. And from that, I realized, you know, maybe a lot of my negativity and just the way I was handling certain situations and going about it. A lot of people had said my music was like angry. Even my uncle had kind of mentioned it one time, and I didn't really know what he meant because I was just going through it. But I look back at the music now and I do feel that it's definitely different. And the way I talk about things and approach them are a lot different. And that's just me wanting to be more of a positive person. And people see that in me and they expect me to be that energy and stuff like that. So when I'm not, it's super dismissing to them, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of it just comes from that. I went out and I did a lot of those shows and I did tours and I got so much footage of everybody and I made those videos just out of the love. The channel's nothing but love. I've always been a fan of the music first. So just being a part of the culture is fun. Coming from Bradford, Vermont, super small town, like there's nobody that raps really around here, unless you go to some of the bigger areas like Burlington and stuff. So we didn't have much exposure. So I'm trying to get all, just involved in everything I can, while being an artist at the same time, because that's something I've always wanted to do. I reached a certain point managing restaurants and stuff where I said, I've had enough. I don't want to be, 30, 40 something years old and look back and be like, I never gave it my shot, So I'm trying to do the filming and all that stuff along the way and picking up traits so that no matter what, I'm going to have a place in hip hop.
It's so interesting because last Friday, I know you're a fan of the show. We had Cesar Comanche on, and he was also talking about coming up in hip hop in a small town and how it made it different. It was even harder for him coming through as hip hop was hitting its pinnacle of explosion. Like he's been in the game for a bit. And, now you're coming through as it's, I personally think it's on its creative downward arc, but popular upward arc, which is normal in pop music. Let's be real. When any genre becomes pop music, there becomes, a difference. And then we start to really see the split. I'm not knocking anyone's hustle. Go make your money. Do what you got to do. As long as you're a good human being and you're taking care of the people around you, I 100% respect you. If you're trying to be a vampire and eat off the talent of other people, go kick a rock. Shoeless with your pinky toe. You know what I mean? So I'm just, just put it out there.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
So it's really, really amazing to hear two people's stories, I'll say 20 years apart, being so similar. There are so many parallels. And that's why, like, personally, I'm a huge music historian. I've studied, as the youth say, I've studied the game for a while. But I really, intensively have read the different autobiographies. I used to binge watch behind the music before binge watching was a thing. It was just really staying up till 2:00 in the morning so you could see 4 of them back to back to back.
Exactly.
And taking notes and understanding. Like, I learned more from those type of failures. Do you find are you also a historian, or is this something that comes natural to you?
Yeah, I mean, So growing up in a small town and not having a lot of exposure, like my older sister really was the one that kind of like, she would make me like cassette tapes with like, it was a mixtape, I mean? She would sit there and like record stuff from the radio and give it to me and be like, yo, you got to check this out. And I loved it. So that was like, she was kind of my only outlet. And then as I got older, I went to college and then I learned about like datpiff.com and all these things, at the time, Wiz and Wayne was popping and stuff like that. So the culture had shifted, obviously. I'm a little late on a lot of artists. Like Brother Ali has been my favorite artist since I really started listening to him. And I didn't start listening to him until like 2011, 12, probably. I grew up listening to Eminem and Dr. Dre and a lot of that shady aftermath stuff. And I didn't really shift away from it because I didn't know much else. Nobody played me other stuff, So that was kind of just that. But hip hop's changed a lot now. Like there's so many subgenres. Like that's kind of what you're talking about, how it's just not the same anymore. The creative part of it's everybody sees somebody doing something, they kind of just take it and run with it. And it's just kind of a bummer. There's a lot of people that just want to make that quick buck. They want to blow up overnight and they're not willing to put the work in and stuff like that. Like I've invested a lot of money to get myself into positions to be where I'm at, and who's to say that I'm more talented than some of these other people, but I believe in myself and I'm willing to take the risk. And that's really what it's all about,
No, definitely. And I just want to say, like, no joke, I'll talk to the editors at the back. I really want to run like your interview and Cesar's interview at the same time, because it was also his older sister that stayed up late listening to the radio and taping things and making mixtapes from the radio that got him into and exposed him to hip hop as well. And then once he went to college, his hip hop scope expanded as well. So I really, and I think personally, if we did that with almost every single person, you're going to hear a very, very similar story, but it's one that not a lot of people pay attention to. You know, it amazes me. Yeah, well, a lot of older sisters, a lot of older siblings, a lot of the senior that hung out with the freshman, that was the cool senior that hung out with the dorky freshman in high school.
Exactly.
There's always that other image. I personally had at the time someone who was 2 years older than me. Was his family was living with us and we were sharing a room. And I mean, to this day, I still hit him up to see if what I'm doing is cool on his standards. And he hits me up. He's like, bro, you tell me what's cool. I was like, no, sir, that's not how this relationship happens.
Around,
I send you this and you say, good job. And I know I can release it. You know, you don't do anything else like that. And I have that love and that respect for it. So I completely understand. But what I really, really, really love about what you said is when you break down all these different subgenres and people can start to really, I don't know, be imprisoned by them. You know, we are now as a society, I think, leaning more towards the obliteration of labels, which I think is amazing, and I think should happen. I think everything should be fluid. I think everything should, be open for conversation. I think uncomfortable conversations are not only needed, but they should be mandated. Because that's how we're going to grow as a society. And the more different, I mean, I am not a visual artist as well, but even in my super limited skills in grade school, I made better art with bigger packs of crayons than with smaller packs of crayons. And that's a new shirt. Put that one on. P, take notes. We gonna make that a coffee mug.
Definitely, man, most definitely.
Yeah, I like that. That's a new shirt. I'm gonna someone take note. If you're driving, this is the point in time you pull over to the side of the road and you write that down, and then you email it back to me so I remember. But it's true. Like it's true. Like Cesar had actually said. I'm continuing to go back to that because there are so many amazing parallels, and I want you to know that there are. I want you to know that this, person of super, important to hip hop itself has a similar story of yours. Whether you guys have met or not, you guys are running a parallel path, and it's very important to understand.
Yeah, that's dope.
So, Cesar said to really be an effective MC, you have to listen to everything. You have to stay as diverse as humanly possible. Not even putting that elements into your music, but when you can understand the other parts of music, you can understand different parts of art, and you can bring that into it, and that helps your evolution. Yep. As someone who has literally taken this evolution, has gone from more of and let's be real, let's call it what it is, angry white guy rap, which came, which was kind of brought forth by like Eminem and Limp Bizkit. They put it out there that it was okay to be ticked off at the world. And then you had Kid Rock who said the same thing. He just did it while saying he was also doing illegal substances in the bathroom off of certain body parts we can't talk about on the air. So converting that angry white guy rap, that style, into more of a positive, fluid style, into more of a aware style. If you were just doing it into the music itself, it would fall short. But because you've actually made the entire personality change, you have grown and you have evolved as a human, you're able to grow and evolve as an artist. And that is one thing I really, really respect about you is you're still able to maintain how genuine you are, even in your evolution. When a lot of people, especially in an industry where we live in front of a camera, between all the different TikTok, social media, and all that, we live a lot more out loud than we've ever lived before. It is really easy to be written off as you're just doing this for the attention. Obviously, I'm doing it for the attention. That's why they gave me a microphone and I have a stage. But there's more to it than just that attention itself. There also is that liberation and that freedom. What made you get into hip hop, especially coming from Vermont, in a small aspect? Because I mean, obviously, I think I've seen you in a Nirvana shirt every once in a while. So I know there's also an alternative feel as well. And like our friend
Yep.
Kenny Mercer from Full Blast Booking, he started out punk, got him into hip hop. You know,
Yep.
what actually puts you as an artist into hip hop, not as a listener?
I was in a few bands growing up and stuff like that. And when we were in middle school, we would kind of just take popular songs and like remix them a little bit. Like we would just add our own little spin. It was the same flow and stuff like that. And then eventually we just kind of kept doing that. But when I went to college again, I met a bunch of people that were like actually freestyling and stuff. And I was like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? So we started kind of just doing that. And my homie had dropped out of college at the same time. And he was making beats and he was rapping up there. And I didn't really know much about that at the time. And when he came back, he was like, yo, you got to check all this stuff out. And so he was the one that really kind of got me into making music and doing hip hop and stuff like that. Chris Webby, honestly, was probably the first artist that I listened to. And I was like, I can relate to everything this dude is saying. And it made me feel like hip hop could be used to tell different stories. And it wasn't just trying to be cool and do all these, you know, the regular hip hop stuff, you know, that you see on the TV. There was more to it. And the more I dove into more artists and stuff, the more I realized that the more you're yourself, the better it is. You know, the better all of your music is, better your life's going to be. You know, it's almost like you're manifesting these thoughts through your music and stuff, and you're just living through it, you know? So I think it's important to stay true to yourself and stuff like that. Because if you're just rapping about all these things, like the girls and the money and stuff, like they're going to be gone just as quick as they came, you know? But if you're talking about real growth and working towards real goals and stuff like that, you know, maybe you won't get a Grammy or whatever, but at least you're working towards some serious, you know, some serious like real life stuff. And your listeners there, hopefully.
On Behind the Brand, which is on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Raised, Elm City Made, EZ Bluez is in the building. Spacey Joe, thanks for being a part of the program.
Thank you.
I would like to know, what is your creative process like in the studio? You seem to like to experiment with a lot of different sounds. Please tell us about that on the program.
Well, it's changed a lot recently. These guys, Cause and Effect, who are from Vermont, they've kind of just been like doing the whole no writing thing, and they've been kind of punching in, I guess, some, you know, maybe like the Jay-Z style. So I've been kind of experimenting more with that. My flow was really bad before. Like I had the words and I couldn't really write that well. Like it was like too hype. I was trying to fit too many things in. So now I'm kind of just playing the beat and I let it go, and I'll just mumble up some stuff, or I'll just try to get the cadence down, and then I'll replay it and I go back and just try to pick apart what I like, put some stuff in, and then I kind of write then. So it's changed a lot. When I'm in like a writing mode and stuff, I don't listen to a lot of rap though. I don't want to get like too caught up in what they're doing and their styles and stuff like that. So I try to play I play a lot of jazz and stuff that doesn't even really have words, just more of a feel. So that's kind of my process. And as soon as I feel like I've hit a wall, I just stop. I got to play some video games or go hiking or play some basketball, you know, change it up and don't force it.
You always want to go outside the box. That's pretty much our whole format.
Yep.
Definitely. Also, you've been you're doing a lot of music videos. I'm watching this music video right now on YouTube. It's called Been a Long Time. It looks like you had a lot of fun on set. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, that was a fun one. So the guy that's in the video with me is Jack the Rich. He produced the beat. So with my whole sound change and stuff, a lot of people were kind of saying I didn't really rap over like traditional hip hop type stuff. So he was somebody who he took like jazz samples and he would make regular beats with them and stuff. He wouldn't do a lot of like loops and crazy stuff like that with I don't know. There's a lot of sample kits you can get nowadays where everybody's got the same sounds and stuff. So he's a real crate digger and stuff. So I was working with him and we made this little EP and stuff. And that video just kind of came about just to hit the EP off with a video. Our visuals are usually nothing too crazy. We want to get a little bit more in depth, like more storylines and stuff like that. But right now it's just about consistency.
Absolutely. And you were definitely consistent with the shots that I see in the video. I like long pan shots, but it gets to the point. Where were you guys at? You look like you were having so much fun.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's always just about having fun, and
Yeah.
and we just like to get together. And I found a group of guys that are down in like Springfield, Vermont. They're a little ways away from me, but they've had a studio set up and stuff for a while, for years, called So 802. So I kind of just worked my way into their circle, and that was one of the best moves for me, just getting around people that actually make music and stuff. So we have a lot of fun. That's what it's always about. As soon as it gets like frustrating and irritating, it's like we got to take a step back, because the business part can drag you down,
Trust me, my friend right here, Easy Blues, knows there's a lot of times he has to take some mental therapy when he's in that studio. And you're solo. He's in a band, so he's communicating with at least like 3 or 4 other heads. So you got
that's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, exactly. You got 4 different heads just musically, just trying to get together with just one thing. One thing I want to know, I know like you're a solo artist, but I know there's nothing like going into the studio to interact with different musicians and just getting a whole feel out of everything. Nothing can create face to face. Just during this whole pandemic season, any difficult process that you have just recording just your art?
Not really, because I've got my own studio like at home kind of thing. But the people that I am tight with, like we send a lot of stuff back and forth. That's the nice thing about technology these days. Obviously, you don't have to like be in a room, and you don't have to bring a tape and stuff like that to record. Like you can just email, whatever. Some of us have been able to get together. We've been shooting videos, like trying to stay outside, keep it, within the guidelines. But there's nothing like that energy in the studio with people. We were working on this group project. I won't say too much about it because it's still kind of in motion right now, but we're going to be going on tour. It's a group called The Six. My friend Dylan Cartoon, who runs 656 Records, he put on like 656 Fest, if anybody's ever heard of that. It was a really popular festival up in Maine, and it's hopefully going to be coming back again. But we're going to be opening up for Twisted for a few runs, and then we got a few shows like off that we're going to be doing under The Six. So it's me, Tune, Delirium, and Tommy Trichomes. So I'm going to be going with a crew, doing some stage crew stuff like that, getting the energy up, which will be fun. Yeah, and it'll be nice. Like I get to do a couple verses. I don't have to go crazy long sets up there. We get to just turn up with the crowd. So
that's awesome, man.
I'm doing this all wrong, man. I got to go for like an hour and a half, just me running around like a fool. I'm sweating. I'm tired.
We have video footage of this. We have evidence.
Fine. I'm just saying.
You kill it. No. You always kill it, man.
I appreciate that. I really do appreciate it.
But I actually stopped in the middle of the festival and saw you performing and was like, I got to get over there. And I ran over with the camera.
Oh my goodness. That means so much. And actually I did see the documentary, which the Day 4 documentary you can find on YouTube. How would you be able to find that? Let's tell the people at home. Again, pull over to the side of the road, take out your pen and your piece of paper.
That's the Nothing But Love channel. You can look it up on Instagram or Facebook. Nothing But Love Entertainment. MBL 802 for the short. Yeah, Nothing But Love's been the motto. We had a friend that passed away from suicide years back. He was big in the community, and that was his thing. So when he passed, we've been just saying that forever. So we really embraced it, and I just kind of was like, we really got to make a channel, and like I've just put everything I can on there. Anybody that wants a video. Whoop, sorry, I don't know if that just went through my phone. What's going on?
It's okay.
Anybody that wants a video type thing, we just, and then like the show recaps, all that stuff. It's
nice.
It's just good to get the content for the channel. I do a bunch of other things. Like I was doing this thing called the business plan, where I was going to small like startup businesses. Like I had a friend who opened up like a woodworking shop. He was making like charcuterie boards, stuff like that. Nice. So I pulled up and we just talked about it. He showed us some stuff and just got some video for him to be able to show people,
Nice.
So any way we can help promote that local small business,
kind of like our show.
Everybody. That's awesome. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, and a lot of people don't get the love. It's like the Bernie Sanders effect.
Yes, I love it. And it's so and I mean he's got to be like an icon by you guys. I mean that's Bernie land. Like I think that and the Bronx. Like that's the two places.
The more north. Yeah, the more north you get. Yeah.
I I know
Sorry.
there's not enough hip hop where you guys are in Vermont, but is it more than there is now than it was like back in the day? Just like hip hop musicians and everything in that state.
Totally, it's grown a lot.
Right.
I lived in Burlington. My family's from Burlington, and I had like ventured up there a few times. And back in like 2013, I was living there, and the scene is just, it's so much bigger now. There's like hip hop shows like weekly almost. COVID's obviously changed things a little bit, but there's a lot of monthly stuff going on. There's a ton of artists. I wish there was more other elements. I wish we had more DJs and people doing graffiti and stuff, but there is some, you know, and we try to highlight those people so we can just get anybody that's interested their spot in the culture, you know.
Oh, definitely. But it just feels great to see that growth.
Yeah. Oh, it's grown a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely nice.
And it's like, I came in at a good time because it was growing so much. We have like a website, vermonthiphop.com.
Right.
So that recaps a lot of stuff. You can visit that if you're interested in what's going on in Vermont. They feature a lot of out-of-state stuff too, though. We just try to keep the love going. You know, that's a Vermont, New England thing, I think. Yeah.
Right.
So
that's the thing. That's why we call it New England. It's the New England music scene, because like we're all just kind of one big thing, and just kind of shake it up and
totally
like Yahtzee, like where the dice land, you know. But I definitely feel that, and it's funny because initially, and even you're rocking, you know, and I love. You're very much like me, making sure you're representing other people's brands. So I will pay attention. The fact that you're rocking the Grand Mode Cypher shirt, which is also a very big staple in New England. They've done incredible things. I actually thought you were initially from New Hampshire because of the work you had done with Grind Mode. Now, I'm sure that day in Massachusetts for that show, you told me you were from Vermont. But again, I was in pain and we were in Massachusetts. So I don't remember much of that show. It was the best show that most people won't forget, and I probably won't remember. And that's fine. Things happen. We've had a couple of those shows. But, you know, it's really, really amazing how much people are reaching out. You know, it's really amazing where you have people like Kenny Mercer from Full Blast Booking that is going above and beyond, and not just, although he is in everything he says, you know, Bridgeport strong, 203 strong, he's going to constantly say these things. He really has reached out and reached over, and he's more about implanting, you know, good humans into an entire movement. And it seems Grind Mode is doing something similar. And it seems you guys up in Vermont are doing things similar. And I love the fact that you're all kind of, your circles are running together in some sort of Tibetan Om symbol that we can all kind of respect and love. I also really want to commend you because you're speaking a lot about the culture. You're speaking a lot about hip hop as a whole. A lot of people who grew up in smaller towns that happen to be more pigmentally challenged, like yourself and I, tend to overlook the graffiti aspect, the b-boy aspect, you know, as again, Cesar said, the 4 pillars of hip hop of the hip hop culture. And I love that you are trying to advocate to continue those things. That shows that you are not the culture vulture as much as you're trying to expand the culture, and you're trying to respect the culture.
Yeah, I'm a guest. I'm a guest in the House of Hip Hop for sure, and I definitely want to make sure that my room is kept as neat as possible, and I'm not making any ruckus to ruin it, you know, because it is what it is, man, you know. And it's a beautiful thing. It saved me from a lot of bad things in my life. Like I literally quit drinking alcohol for a year last year for alcohol, or not for alcohol, but for hip hop and stuff. I was performing and I would get winded and I was messing up words, and it was getting in the way. And for the first time in my life, I felt that way about it, you know, and before it was like, whatever, you know, but hip hop's made a lot of changes like that. Like I've gotten a lot more physically fit so I can perform on stage and do all these things, and just, I don't know. I thank it every day, man. I love it.
It's awesome. It's amazing. And it's a testament. It's a testament of what the actual culture is. And when it gets, going to sound creepy, but when it gets inside of you, it truly does make a change. And it's awesome to hear. Again, I kind of grew up through the hip hop culture itself. I always say I'm as influenced by Chuck D as I am by Bob Dylan. And for some reason, I to this day, I don't know why hip hop loves the Penguin and the Penguin loves hip hop. We are not a hip hop band at all, at all. But there's always a matter of that love and respect. And I think it's incredible, and I love when lyricists and when performers can come to us and say what you said. I had to stop in the middle of the thing to do what I was doing and make sure I got some footage because I knew some crazy stuff was going to go off. I love that, and I feel that same way. I was, playing cornhole at the Penguin at the Penguin Lab in Tour for Life, and your set popped off, and like mid throw, I was like, I'll be right back, and I just left the game because I knew my boy Spacey was gonna burn it down, And then on top of that, the footage that you guys got of our good brother Cheshki, such an amazing performer, just an incredible energy. I have never responded so well to orders since my time in the Army. He had the crowd. He had the crowd. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's great to see. And like with me, I looked at it, I was like, okay, this is the energy I need to now try to push forward too, because I have that kineticness and now I need to figure out how to do there. So I love that in hip hop in particular, because I feel it more in hip hop and with performers than I really do feel it in other genres. I look at hip hop and go, okay, this is what this performer is doing. This is what this performer is engaging in. This is what I need to do to become better. And that really seems more instilled in the hip hop culture than it is in other styles of music. And again, not here to pour salt in anyone else's hustle. You're doing what you're doing. It's making you happy, folks. Go be you and be happy. This is not me, and I'm not happy. So, do you
there's
feel
a competitive aspect always to hip hop, and it's definitely made me a better performer. I will say that, like all those tours that I've done with Kenny, and I thank him for letting me go out, because back then I definitely, I don't think I was up to par to be performing and stuff, but they let me go out and I saw real performers, and I saw how people were bringing their merch and they were getting things done. And it was a big learning experience. And I went back and I worked really hard, just like, I feel like people that play sports, so they go to a AAU tournament or something, they're going to see other teams and they're, they might not win, but they're going to come back with a lesson from that tournament or something, so as long as you're always going out and you're learning and you're growing, that's the competitive fun part about it. You don't have to go hate on people to grow. You don't have to step on people to get to where you want to go,
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. It's true. And I live by the philosophy of we can only rise together. So, I try to do whatever's necessary, and I'll try to highlight whoever I can. If I vibe with them, if I respect what they're doing, and some people, even if I don't respect what they're doing, I just understand that they just need a little bit of a boost. They need a little bit to go move forward. And I wish nothing but happiness for anyone and everyone. I really do. Even if we've never agreed, I hope you're happy. Like it's, it's cool.
100%. Yeah.
When you're performing, you get the butterfly jitters, or do you get like that? Like me, it's a pre-fight, bro. Like, Rocky themes playing in the background. I got Mickey sitting on my ear telling me to get up, you son of a gun, because he loves me. Like, you know what I mean? I'm about to hit the Philadelphia stairs. Eye of the Tiger is blaring. Now is that for you, or do you are more that like, okay, I need to make sure I hit A, B, and C. My first line. Can't forget the first line, because if I drop the first line, the rest of the show is gone. Is that more of what you do pre-show?
Honestly, it used to be. I used to like get so nervous and stuff, and I still get the butterflies a little bit. It really depends. Like I used to like just sit there and look at the crowd and look at everybody performing and be all in my head. And then I started thinking about like when I played sports and, we'd be in the locker room just getting mentally ready and stuff like that. And you don't think about all these things. You don't look into the crowd. You don't look at the other team and stuff. And, I started instilling a lot of those habits. And now I try to get myself charged up just like that. Like, yeah, you got to come out firing, you just got to come with that confidence and being on the tour and doing that many shows in a row really gets your confidence up. Shout out Brando Culpepper from the live show. Like the dude just, and your introduction even now just on this show, like the intros and stuff get you so hype, and people, you know, it's important, you know, and we feed off that energy, and then you just got to keep it going. And yeah, my music's gotten a lot better where it just transitions really well now. And I have a lot more of like real instruments incorporated and stuff. So I feel good about the music I'm doing too. And I think that helps a lot. You know, I think when I'm going up there and I know that people are hopefully at least going to enjoy the song, no matter if I mess up or anything, it's like, that's a calming factor for sure. But yeah, you got to come out firing. You got to come out.
Exactly. I appreciate the intro love. Prestige keeps telling me I need to go on Cameo and offer these intros to people. Dude, for the sheer price of $9.99. I will show up on your phone and I will tell you are awesome.
I know, because like nobody that knows who I am now is just like, this guy is just, you know. You just turned my card into a holographic Charizard card.
Yes, Pokemon. This is the other thing that I love about you is there was a very strong, I'll say, machismo culture in hip hop where you have that swag. But you play Pokemon. And you know, you love some things that are considered like the geek culture. And you talk about it, and you have that swag. And yes, we are hitting more of the culture where, you know, comic book movies are cool, so comic books are cool now. You know, all the stuff that some people who will remain nameless so they don't date themselves used to get beat up for is now cool. You know, you're all welcome. You know, and even pro wrestling, we're all huge pro wrestling fans and geeks. We've talked about AEW. I mentioned your Jeff Hardy shirt, which is how I remembered you. He's like, he's thinking too. He's like, I know the shirt was purple. Was it Jeff Hardy? No, I remember these things. I don't remember much, but your shirt I remember.
On point.
And I love that there's also the parallel of what I believe Stone Cold Steve Austin had said about how you make it in the wrestling industry is you find your personality and dial it to 11. You stated in the last segments that the more true you are to yourself, the better your music becomes, the better your brand becomes, because it's honest. I'm going to, you know, and also my favorite songwriter in the entire world, Bob Dylan, says all the time, if you're going to be outlaws, you better be honest. And I really want that to sink in to those that are on the come up. It's not just a bunch of words. If you want people to invest in you, invest in your art, you have to be honest. You know, I do not live in an area where I have to worry about carrying a Glock. Nowhere in my music do I state that I'm carrying a Glock because it's not real. For those that do it, if you're making money off of it, I love you. I respect you. Go do what you got to do. But you're only going to be maybe a 1 or 2 hit wonder. You're only maybe going to get your 15 seconds on TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm looking to invest in artists careers. I'm looking for those people that are going to be there, for those India Aries, for those Erica Badu's, you know, for those long-term artists, for those even on a smaller scale, Chris Webby, who also worked with Ren Thomas, who I believe is featured on the single that you've given us that is now officially all good for radio play.
Yes, it is. It's good for radio play on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime who's dancing right now. His name is Easy Bluez, Long Island Rays, Elm City Mage. Spacey Jones is with us on Behind the Brand. And I'm learning all this great information about Spacey Jones. But you two can correct me if I'm wrong. Easy's really good at that as well. How did you get to the name of Spacey Jones? Why the name Spacey Jones?
Oh man, so I used to just go by my last name, Treleo, and it was a nightmare. Even growing up, it was a nightmare for teachers to spell, say, all that stuff. So shows were just a nightmare. I like the Ninja Turtles, Casey Jones. I kind of just spun it off a little bit, obviously. So Spacey Jones.
Gotcha.
There's a couple other reasons as well too. You know, you can probably let your imagination take you there, but But yeah, I'm a little spacey too, though. People sometimes will be like, "Hey, man, did you do that?" And I'm like, "No, I forgot." And they're like, "Spacey." So I earned that name eventually. Yeah.
So it's another opportunity of art influencing life, influencing art. You know,
Exactly.
but it's again, very much the same aspect. And now I'll draw a parallel with you and I. Throughout most of school, teachers would constantly forget to put the Z at the end of Bluez, and it would massively frustrate me. So I'd have to in class all the time be like, no, it's pronounced Bluez, but it's spelled Bluez. And they would get frustrated with me. I'm completely making this up because we all know that it's a stage name, but it was a funny bit to me in my own head. It didn't really play that well with the audience, but that's fine. I can admit my failures. But I even changed into the Easy Bluez aspect because my last name is also extremely difficult. When I was in the military, I was called all types of things, and some of them were because of my last name. Some of them was because I had glasses and tattoos. It's really, really interesting where you do have a lot of these artists really will, and it goes on for history upon history upon history. Even Bob Dylan's real name isn't Bob Dylan. You have those moments where you realize that you are a product. As much as we don't want to admit we're a product because we're artists and we need to stay true to our art, we're a product, we're a brand. We need marketing. We need to live these different aspects of it. Kind of when you get that persona or that superhero name, then you can start to separate. You can start to say, okay, this is the difference between the government name and Spacey Jones. The government name does A, B, and C, and everything is towards this way. Spacey Jones has a little bit more freedom to do X, Y, and Z. Do you wind up getting lost in that Bruce Wayne Batman dynamic?
I think that there isn't too much separating myself and Spacey Jones. It definitely gives me a little bit of freedom to be more openly funny and take a risk on certain topics and stuff like that. And then, I've kind of just been an open book, I guess, on social media for years. Like it's kind of it just has a different effect on everybody, and so I think when I changed names, Spacey Jones is kind of who I wanted to be. Right. And I grew into that person with the name change and stuff. And so I try to keep him a little bit separate, but it's definitely not too different. Okay.
It's true. And again, that leads back to finding that personality trait and turning it up to 11, and having that freedom to push the envelope in those certain type of ways. And you can say it's just for art, or I personally feel, and this is a personal thing, so all those other people, if you have your hate mail, make sure you send it directly to Prestige and he will file it in the trash can receptacle. I personally feel that art should push envelopes. Art should make some people feel uncomfortable. And as a responsible artist, we kind of have to sometimes. We have to say the things, or as I also say, we take all the hurt and the pain of the world, and then we try to laser direct it through the heart, through our heart, which is really just a prism, and then shoot that rainbow out into the world. But we get kicked for it, and there's sometimes we make choices that could blow up. I've sat and been lucky enough that taking a risk wound up doing very, very well for us. I'm not going to talk about it because it isn't about me. And you also are taking those different types of risks, and honestly, even Chris Webby is taking those type of risks. And some of the stuff that he is leaning more towards right now doesn't necessarily sit well with me as a human being. But I understand why he's doing it as an artist, and I understand why it's important. And at least when he's doing it, it's mixed correctly. He's on beat. You can't hear his breath breaks, unlike some of the other artists who I won't even say on this thing, but who I'm talking about, who couldn't stay on beat if you paid him to, and his rich parents have made sure that you're going to hear his music. That's right. I'm ooh.
It is what it is, man. You know.
Right.
The thing that's tough is that there's like a meme rapper type thing now, and I'm not saying Chris Webby is that person, because I love Chris's music and I still love his music to this day. I'm more of an OG fan, but you know, you hear him talking a lot about cancel culture and stuff, and I think he's a good representation of those people that still are, you know, they are censored. Like if you censor their music, it'd be like every other word type of thing, you know, and but there's certain other rappers, like, I don't want to get too many names out and stuff, but they find social things that are happening and then they kind of just make a song about it. And it's just, these things obviously we need to have conversations about and stuff like that, but you're just exploiting things, and it's just kind of weird. I don't know.
It's interesting because we actually had the phenomenal comedian Chris Sears on, and we were talking about cancel culture and how, if we're being 100% honest, it does not exist. You just need to be better as an artist. You need to make sure your content is bulletproof, you know, because at the end of the day, I'll put out J.K. Rowling isn't canceled. She already cashed the Harry Potter checks. You know what I'm saying? She just hasn't written a good book since Harry Potter. Let's be real. I'm saying it. And again, all hate mail. That hate mail you can send to me. I'm going to love that one. You know, but, you know, it's the truth. And what's his face says it all the time. You know, Sam Jackson says all the time, you know, I already cashed those checks. Like, you don't have to go see these new movies. They already paid me, you know, and that's, it's great. So, yeah, good stuff. But now moving forward, what is within the next aspects for you? What is the next adventure? Where is the next place we're going to see the Spacey signal, and is Spacey Jones going to land?
So I have a show in Rutland, Vermont, this coming weekend. I can't honestly remember the place yet. If you follow me on social media, though, I'll have it all posted this week. Spacey Jones 802 on Instagram and Facebook. After that, though, we're going to be doing the 6th, and we're going to be opening for Chris Webby October 1st up in Herman, Maine. And that's going to kind of kick off our little tour run. We're doing the Twisted shows. We got a one-off show with Gibby Stites, who's a Magic Ninja signee right now. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. I got an EP that's going to be dropping soon with Full Blast fan B Divine. He's produced the whole thing. It's 4 tracks. That's going to be some more boom bap type stuff, just kind of showing off like my rapidy rap, you know. And then I got a mixtape, Amplified Substance, that's just going to be all over the place. It's going to have some old school remixes. I got one out now. It's called Smoke Gouda for the Redman song. Smoke Gouda. The Ren Thomas joint is on there with Modest that you'll be playing. And then a bunch of other stuff, some singles that I've kind of already released. You can hear me on Spotify, pretty much anywhere that you can listen to music, I'm there. So yeah, once that mixtape drops, I'm excited about that. You know, it's going to be my first mixtape with some real underground features, as well as some people that I've just kind of always worked closely with. So
now, unfortunately, we are starting to roll to the end of this wonderful time with you, but we're going to give you this last minute or so to promote yourself further than what you just did. Where can they get you on all the social medias? How can we get in touch with you? How can we support you? How can we buy your wonderful merch?
Awesome. Yeah. Well, first off, thanks you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Spacey Jones 802 on all social media. Spacey Jones. You can type it in anywhere. You'll find my name, my picture. So 802 store is it's so.802.store. I think it's a Shopify connection, but that's where the merch is at right now. You can hit me up for merch personally. I got some Tour for Life shirts that we made. We tie-dyed them all ourselves, me and my team. The Nothing But Love logos on them and stuff like that. So Nothing But Love is the YouTube channel. And yeah, man, we're just out here having a good time, trying to spread love for the culture and just doing what we can. Just like you guys. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you too, brother. Thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is your song, man.
Definitely on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Spacey Jones, behind the brand.
You know, there's a lot of that don't like me. And that's okay. 'Cause if one thing's for certain, will respect me. Yeah, yo, taking off like a shuttle race. Pass the baton and tell them others to stay out my way. I'm always going in and out my ways. One day my mind's gone, the next day it's here to stay. Even on the playground, homie, I don't play. Always hiding, never seeking. Yeah, boy, you been afraid. Been a renegade ever since M&J. This is my destiny since a child till I make him say my name. Say my name, it's Chilean. Hit him till I bruise their brain. Apex predator on top of the food chain. Pizza with the cheese drip, yeah, that's a food chain. Same shit, new day, new weed, new strain. Running like Hussein, don't care what you say. You boys is too thick, make my Bluetooth big. Never cover all the spots, we ball like it's Supay. Something special. Yo. Something special.
So what y'all mad cause I got bigger than y'all? So taking shots now, trying to make me bitter like y'all. They say the harder they fall, if the bigger they are. I told my let me handle this, just sit in the car. Let's be grown men and speak about our issues, my dude. No more subs, no more posts, no more the view. So who really reap the benefits off work with you? I dropped not a like or post, right? I take it personal. Merchandise and touring middle markets gave the blueprint. So place blame on your reflection, you ain't use it. I pass you the rock, you ain't deserve the ball. All we need was a couple of words to resolve. Never claimed superior, just caught some steam. Did everything in my power to try to put on my team. Coulda came on the road if you asked to rock. It ain't my fault that your so-called classic flop. It's rap.
Something special. Yo. Something special. Something special. Yo.
Yeah, I got bars like a sandy head. Put two back to back and leave them till the red. East Coast G's, heavyweight mic spitters. Stay in your lane, boy. You can't fly with us. Spacey, Ren, Thomas, Modest, it's the trifecta. We about to call the shots like a director. Eating all these rappers, call it Hannibal Lecter. You watching from the sides like a prospector. I got the gadgets like an inspector. Got the girl of my dreams, no need to impress her. I memorize every single word in the lecture. Modest on the track, never fold under pressure.